is here because you know that Trump must go now. But now we have to become organizers, every single one of us. And these 4 principles hold this together and can invite new people into this movement so that we can grow. So with that, I want to bring up our next speaker, one of the co-founders of Refuse Fascism back in 2016, way ahead of the curve, a longtime follower of the revolutionary leader Bob Avakian, who is also the architect of the new communism and has really analyzed and given warning to the rising fascism in this country. Andy Z. Give some love to Andy Z.
Yeah, about like this.
Hey, you. How you doing?
All right, give some love for Andy Z.
It's a little high here, but all right. So it used to be said in the 1960s, the power of the people is stronger than the man's technology. But hopefully this technology will work. And can you hear me in the back? All right. Look, you're here because you've opened your eyes. You've opened your hearts. You've opened your minds to critical thinking. And you've activated your moral compass to get your butts in motion this morning and put your boots or sneakers, as I see it is, on the ground here in the nation's capital to demand Trump must go now. So now that you've opened your eyes, I'm going to ask you to shut your eyes for a moment. That's good. Imagine a sea of people from here to the White House, to the Capitol, to the Supreme Court, to every institution, creeping beneath the ground, shaking the ground, getting underneath the Potomac River, to those people still in the Pentagon who have some degree of upset about the removal of black and Latino and women and trans from the forces, and are disgusted by the idea of waging war on the soil of America and fighting against the very people who make up this country. We can shake these institutions. Every day, we need thousands of people in the streets of D.C. Now, not next year, not waiting and seeing what's going to happen, but now. The hundreds of you need to become thousands, to become millions in the next 6 weeks before Christmas. There is no time. We are going to be a breathing small city in Washington within a larger city. Okay, I'm going to do this different. Never mind some morning musings. I want to speak to you from the heart here. We're thousands who came out on the 5th of November. Today we're hundreds. We need millions. And there are millions of people out there who hate what is happening in this country. But they hope we're not right. They want to wait it out. They want to hope against reality. They don't believe what they're seeing before them. But you do. And you're right, and they're not. That's not a casual phrase. You're right. You opened your eyes, you shook your conscience, you thought about it critically, you came out here today, and we're going to surround this White House in a model of what has to happen by millions of people. Because what are the stakes if we don't do this?
Our freedom.
Our freedom. And not just our freedom, but the people of the world. Over 100,000 people have died in Africa because of the removal of aid. The climate is way past the tipping point. Or I should say it is heading way past the tipping point. But with the measures of this regime, this poses an existential question for the future of humanity. This matters. You know it. Many of the people out there who came out on No King's Day know it, but they're not acting on it. That's on you, that's on us to bring this message of Trump must go now and to make the case why it has to happen and why it has to happen now and that there's only one power to do this. So think about this. When you surround in our hundreds of thousands and millions the Capitol, when you're out in front of every institution in this city, there are people in there who are cowering. And I know it's hard to believe that that Congress, who just capitulated to Trump when they had some initiative, could be shaken from their complicity. But they can be. But they will not do it on their own. They will not do it without you modeling what has to be done. There has to be a power of the people, creating an earthquake below so that the windows of every institution shake, that the light of your resistance shines in there and exposes the people who are doing nothing right now, but wasting the time of humanity. It's not their time, it's not our time, but our time is one in which we have to get out in the streets and sacrifice, as Jim just said, to bring about a political earthquake from below, such that those in power do what needs to be done. Because we're going to do it. And that involves all of you taking a stand now, coming back on Monday. Coming back on Monday and the next Monday. So I want to talk just a little bit about this plan. Surround the White House, November 15th, November 17th, November 24th. Why do we say that? What about one day? Why don't we just do November 15th and then we'll see what happens? Because we are telling people this has got to be a continuing struggle. This is not a one-day affair. This is a serious struggle for what is the direction of society. And you got to then remember what you saw when you closed your eyes as millions of people filled the mall and stretched all the way across the river. That's what has to be in your mind and in your heart, and you have to fight for it. Yes, non-violently. This is a non-violent movement. But it is a determined movement. It is a movement that will involve sacrifice. Yes, our sacrifice. And damn it, that's something we should be proud to do. Yeah. And let's be clear, we got to talk some truth here. The midterm elections, as Jim said, is way too late. What are you fucking talking about? We're going to have a new Congress in January of 2017? 2027. Maybe I have some nostalgia. But actually, in 2017, it would have been good if people listened to us back then. That's right. It would have been even better if people listened to Bob Avakian in the 1990s when he said this Christian fascist crusade was on a roll and going to sweep up the whole country. People thought we were lunatics for saying that. Well, now, who are the lunatics? Those who didn't believe the actual reality that was unfolding right beneath our very eyes. So we've got 3 dates. 3 dates that have to grip the imagination and get larger and larger. And the imagination they need is people leaving their jobs for a day, for a week, coming after work, taking shifts. The DMV area should be like a giant accordion with hundreds and thousands and millions coming in for a couple days and then going home and coming back. People coming from around the country to D.C. This is what you have to tell your relatives, your friends. We have to organize this. We said last week that every one of you is now a leader. And you're not just leading your friends and your neighbors. You're leading the remaining people of conscience in these institutions here. And you are telling them not to comply with the norms of society, but to do what needs to be done to remove the regime. You are telling people who resist ICE, keep it up, but get in the streets of D.C. at the same time. You are telling people who are feeding the hungry, housing the homeless, keep it up, but get to D.C. because you are not going to Trump-proof one city. You are not going to Trump-proof one state. The political power of a fascist regime is living across the street that needs to be evicted. It's occupying the halls of Congress. They need to do what they need to do, or yes, they'll get out. But if we start thinking now, and I have to say this, that what we should put our attention to is primarying those who capitulated in Congress. That is a strategy, to be clear, of waiting till the next election. An election that, if it even happens, will be rigged. It is already being rigged. And if by some stretch of the imagination there were a majority of Democrats elected, why would anybody believe, in possession of their faculties, that somebody who led an insurrection to overturn the last election, pardoned every last one of them, pardoned everybody who came up with bogus schemes to overturn the election, would honor anything in 2017, and besides which, the Supreme Court that's in his pocket will have outlawed dissent before then. So you're appointed to lead this. And I'm pausing because I want you to think about it. There's a handful of us in Refuse Fascism who've been leading this since 2016. There's hundreds more around the country now, thousands probably, who are following this. It is everybody here's job to make this millions of people, starting now. The reason this is called Surround the White House 1.0 is to enable those with some imagination to imagine 2.0 and 3.0 and 5.0 when we have the millions we need to actually shake the ground such that the regime is removed from power. So we start on Monday. We start, as Sansara said before, at 3 p.m. That's enough time, if you're still in school, to walk out of school. If you can leave early, just leave early. If school ends early for you, get down here and organize, go to the next school over, and tell them, get out of class and come down to the White House. We got business to take care of. We got the future to take care of. So that's what we're doing here. This Monday, the following Monday. Get connected up. Sansara and others will give you the plans. But as we end, or I end and others end, every speech we give, every small gathering, even if it's just two people over a beer or coffee, it's important to recognize for whom are we doing this and for what are we doing this. So before I get to that chant, I do want to echo something Sansara said. I don't want to leave it at that. This is a movement that has to comprise millions. That means those who believe deeply in the Constitution of this country and what it's supposed to, the rights it's supposed to have, and are outraged that those rights are being ripped away. It does involve people like Sansara and myself who are working for a constitution for a whole radically different society to emancipate humanity. But we are all united around the single demand of Trump must go now. And as she said, and this is very important, it is necessary that we actually talk about all this. Because this is a serious problem that humanity faces, and we're not going to get clear on it without discussion and debate. So I wanted to bring that back in and then say this, and ask you to join me in saying, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. Now this time, we need to say it so that all those people, the tourists over there, hear us. So in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. And the power of the people is what's going to bring this regime down.
That's right.
it for Andy Z. Now I want to say that we are told that change happens when people in offices of power get around to it. We are told that change happens when you lobby for it, or you call enough times for it, or you vote for it. But the truth is, if you study history in this country, even in quote-unquote normal times, the massive changes that we celebrate, the people we sing songs about, the people we watch movies about, they did not sit back and wait till something was electable. They went out in the streets and they put themselves on the line and they woke up the conscience of millions of others and they changed what was possible. This is how civil rights were won. This is how Jim Crow was torn down. This is how women won the right to abortion. This is how we won the equality for LGBTQ people. We did not win these rights by sitting back and lobbying. People put themselves on the line. People gave their lives, and it was right, and it was worth it. And I will tell you this. Even the right to vote was not won by voting. Think about that. And that's in normal times, and we are not in normal times. We are in a time when the fascist tyrant in the White House already incited one insurrection, pardoned the insurrectionists as his #1 act on day 1 of his regime. This week pardoned 77 more of the people who tried to steal the election. His movement is packed election deniers into key state offices to oversee the next elections in 18 states. This man is not going to sit back. Not only do we not have time to wait a year and a half for new people in office, immigrants whose families are being shattered now do not have time. Trans people whose rights are being erased now do not have time. The planet that is being destroyed right now does not have time. Science and medicine that is being dismantled now does not have time. The academy and the universities that are being purged of any discussion of gender and race and the actual fucking history of this country does not have time.
Yeah!
The legal sphere that is under attack, with law firms being extorted by this regime, does not have time. So not only do we not have time, you have to be smoking something to think that you can have him respect an election he loses.
Yeah!
We cannot wait for the midterms, and we cannot count on the midterms. We have to act now.
Yeah!
And so I want to echo something that Andy said, something very important. You are here because you recognize this. You are here because you recognize this. There are tens of millions of people with decent hearts, not the people who cheer for what ICE is doing, the people whose hearts are ripped open by it, the people who poured into the streets on No King's Day, the people who are defending their neighbors. There are tens of millions who care, but they are still denying how fast this is moving, how qualitative and dangerous it is. And so you are right, and they are not right. And we have to get out there and bring them into this movement. We need to do it with love, but we need to do it with truth and clarity and no compromises. Because it's not about us, it's not about you, and it's not about their feelings. It's about the future of humanity. So this is why I wish there was 10,000 people today. I wish there was 1 million people today, and there's millions who care. But however many we are, it matters all the more. When the rest of the decent people are not there yet, it matters all the more that there are people who are stepping out and carving a new path and leading the way. And so I just want to salute you one more time for being here, and we have a fight on our hands, and we must not give up on that. So we have 2 more brief speakers, and then we are going to do something that is modeling for the millions what we need to have them come join us in doing, in surrounding the White House. And we are going to get this out on social media, and all of you should amplify it. And then at the end, I want you to know one of the most beautiful things about this movement, besides our diversity, besides the clarity and the truth we tell, besides the willingness to sacrifice and disrupt our lives because something bigger is going on, and actually it's an expression of that, is at the end of almost every protest we have, it breaks out into a beautiful dance party. And we definitely have that plan, because there is joy in standing up and celebrating and being in this together. So I want you to know we're going to have a closing rally and send-off that is going to be equally important as the surround that we're about to do. So we have two very brief speakers, and then we're going to get to it. Ralph Nix is a veteran. He is a leader of the Reduced Fascism Chapter DMV. He's also one of the captains of the Marshals. He does everything. Give some love to Ralph.
Good afternoon, all you humane, moral U.S. citizens. I am Ralph, and I am from the DMV chapter, and I'd like to meet each and every one of you sometime in the march today. I don't care what brings you here. I don't care if it's the tariffs. I don't care if it's the destruction of the Constitution. I don't care if it's taking brown and black people off the streets throughout our country, including using Blackhawks in Washington, D.C., and putting plastic cuffs on children. I am here to tell you what I have seen after serving my country for 35 years is heartbreaking and is illegal as sinking the ships off Venezuela, the boats off Venezuela, and setting up a battle group off the coast of Venezuela.
Yes.
We are going to march today, and we're going to have crime scene tape. And we're going to put crime scene tape as far around the White House as we can, because the criminals is in the White House. I have one challenge for each and every one of you here. We are going to be back in the streets in front of the White House on Monday. I want you to go home. I want you to go to school. I want you to go work. I want you to get 4 to 5 of your friends to bring with you. I should be able to look from this podium and not see the end of the crowd. I am enthused to be able to march with my moral U.S. citizens. And please reach out and bring people in. And we're going to have a good time today.
All right, that is Ralph.